Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. As the world watches the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine, one Eastern Washington man is about to be on the front lines. He's decided to fly overseas and help Ukrainians defend their country. He told KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk why he made that decision just months before his own wedding. Kyle?
Well, Jeremy Smith is leaving behind his fiancee and their business. He plans to be gone for several months, not knowing if he'll be able to have contact with loved ones back home. He says he's most worried about his safety and knows what the ultimate outcome could be. The devastation in Ukraine and the courage of so many citizens fighting for their country has inspired people all over the world to donate money to help with relief. Jeremy Smith is taking things a step further.
We need to basically bring our body armor, uniform, any winter gear or stuff that you might need.
Smith was at the Spokane Army surplus store spending $400 on extra gear before heading to Eastern Europe.
What inspired me to go over to Ukraine is I don't like what I'm seeing going on over there. I don't feel it's right. And I feel a duty to action.
Smith owns a coffee shop in Odessa, Washington, and plans to leave his business and fiance next week to go fight in Ukraine. He's joining a group of men from Seattle.
We have some people on the ground in Ukraine that we communicate with, and also in Poland.
On March 17th, Smith will fly to Warsaw, Poland. There, he'll visit the Ukrainian embassy to fill out paperwork.
And then from there to the Ukrainian border.
Smith says Ukrainians are providing firearms and other supplies. He plans to stay through the spring and isn't sure if he'll be able to call home and update his fiancee.
Well, I was told I better get my butt back in time for my wedding, which is in June. So the fiancé is quite adamant about the return date.
Returning home safe is the ultimate goal. Smith has no formal military experience. He's worked as a bail bond agent for more than 25 years and has received close combat training.
Most concerned about my safety. I'm not going to lie. I'm going into a war zone. But on the other hand, I know what I'm getting myself into. I know what to expect.
And according to CBS News, the Ukrainian government reports more than 16,000 foreigners have already arrived to fight, including some Americans. In the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. Taking a look now at the ongoing war in Ukraine. Earlier today, a Russian airstrike on a maternity hospital in Ukraine. Authorities have reported several injuries, but there are few details yet on how many were hurt or even killed. Ukraine's president, meantime, calling the strike a war crime and saying there were children under the wreckage. The White House is warning tonight that Russia could possibly use chemical or biological weapons. Newly released search warrant documents are providing new details on the death of a Hauser Lake man who was shot and killed after finding his barn was on fire. It happened last week. Documents show that 77-year-old Dennis Rogers was shot and killed with his own gun on his own property. Deputies believe Adam Bennett pulled the trigger and are investigating how he got the gun. That Bennett is also accused of shooting at two neighbors who saw the fire and stopped to help. One of them was shot in the leg. Bennett was arrested a half a mile from the property on Hauser Lake Road at an asphalt plant. Deputies say he stole a worker's truck and may also be responsible for setting a semi on fire. He remains in jail tonight without bond. Also new tonight, a study from the University of Washington's Addiction, Drugs, and Alcohol Institute showed a large increase in the intentional use of fentanyl across the state. They surveyed nearly 1,000 people, and it revealed that last year's use increased 18% since 2019, with 42% saying they had used the drug in the past 3 months. A research scientist at the institute says that fentanyl growth is the biggest and fastest shift they have ever seen, and also the most lethal. Well, developing tonight, Spokane police have arrested a 12-year-old student for having a gun at school. Here's what we know. School officials got information that a student at Willard Elementary School had a gun in the school, and they located that gun, which turned out to be a loaded revolver, in the 12-year-old's backpack. The student was taken to juvenile detention. They've been charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and possession of a dangerous weapon on school grounds. Police do not believe there was any real threat to other students, they said. All right, let's talk weather now, because the forecast brought us some sunny weather today, but it also was really cold. Let's get outside to meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. And Jeremy, just 23 degrees out there at this hour. My goodness.
Yeah, Mark, no. Can I come back in yet?
Yeah, just after your forecast, yes.
Oh, all right. Well, let's do this quick then. Let's get you outside with a look at what's going on. 23 degrees right now. You factor in the light wind. It's feeling like it's 16, but that light wind is the reason we're losing so much heat right now. All of that's escaping up into the atmosphere with clear skies overhead. 21 in Coeur d'Alene, already down to 19 in Sandpoint, 26 in Moses Lake, and 30 there in Wenatchee. Clear skies, but we do have some clouds that are going to start filtering their way in. Now, with these arriving early in the morning, it is likely that we do fall a little bit closer to the teens and even down into the teens before those clouds move in. Those will act as a cap on the atmosphere and stop us from cooling down too much more. And I think that winds up being our saving grace for when it comes to just how cold we're going to get. I think without those clouds, we would get down even close to the single digits in many locations, but it does look like we continue to drop. We fall down into the low 20s. I think we do dip into the teens briefly, but as cloud cover moves in early in the morning, looks like it stops us from falling too much before we start climbing again tomorrow.
All right, Jeremy, thank you very much. And now to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. You may want to pay closer attention to your speed on the South Hill pretty soon. The Spokane Police Department is installing 3 new photo speed cameras in school zones at Ferris High School and at Roosevelt Elementary School.
I would love to be able to say I could put myself out of a job or put our cameras out of a job if everybody obeyed the traffic law, and that would make life a lot easier. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints that we have come into the department is traffic issues, and frankly, that's a huge thing for our city.
The 3 new cameras on the South Hill will monitor southbound traffic on Ray, northbound traffic on Regal, and northbound traffic on Bernard. This covers the school zones of Ferris High School, Adams Elementary, as well as Roosevelt Elementary School. The cameras track your speed and are only active, though, when the school zone lights are flashing. We will share how much the fines could cost you coming up in just about 5 minutes. Eastern Washington University is the latest university to upgrade its mask guidance today. Masks will be optional starting March 12th at Eastern Washington University in classrooms, academics, and business buildings, as well as residence halls in Cheney and at their campus in the Catalyst building. For the Eastern Washington University Spokane campus that is shared with WSU, they'll follow WSU's masking protocols, which require masks on public transportation and inside medical facilities. Dozens of airmen from Fairchild Air Force Base have arrived in Europe in support of NATO. 150 personnel from the 92nd Air Refueling Wing and 4 KC-135 tankers are now at an airbase in Germany. Now, according to the Pentagon, the deployment is a direct response to the invasion and the war in Ukraine. Fairchild, though, stressed the airmen are purely defensive forces working in coordination with NATO to increase readiness during this period of uncertainty in Eastern Europe. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them directly to your phone. Well, Washington is just days away from the end of the indoor mask mandate on Saturday. And that means next week, students in Washington won't have to wear masks in the classroom. This will mark the first time since the pandemic started that students do not have to wear masks at schools. Spokane Public Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez spoke to the media today about the end of the mask mandate in schools. Dr. Velasquez said current trends make him confident that it is safe for local schools to take off the masks.
If everything continues going the way it's going, we should be able to align with the DOH guidance. And unless there are any specific circumstances in a particular school that require us to provide a different guidance. So, and I do believe that most of our schools are looking forward to that.
Some guidelines are still in place for schools. However, that includes the vaccine requirement for staff and quarantine requirements for those exposed to COVID-19. The state also recommends that schools still attempt social distancing in situations such as lunchrooms and in common areas. And as the war in Ukraine continues, Vice President Kamala Harris landed in Warsaw, Poland tonight. During her visit, she will help reinforce America's dedication to NATO and to highlight the U.S. support for Ukraine. She'll also meet with the leaders of Poland and Romania and learn more about what's being done to support Ukrainian refugees during this crisis. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., the House tonight passing a spending bill to fund the government through September 30th. The $1.5 trillion package also includes $13.6 billion in military and economic aid for Ukraine. Meanwhile, it is the third day of the 50th Iditarod sled dog race, with sled teams arriving at McGrath checkpoint today. This allows sledders and dogs to have a chance to rest up. So far, all 15 sled teams have made it to that checkpoint. Some have already left for the next leg of that race.
You know, the cow's going as fast as it can right now, which is about 3 miles per hour.
Well, take a look at this. Not exactly a high-speed chase. The cow is now safe tonight after it was caught running loose on a Los Angeles freeway. Several public agency vehicles you see right there tried to guide the cow off the highway, but it got spooked and took off and ran back on the highway, causing traffic to slow down. After a bit, crews, though, were able to lasso the cow and move him off of the road. Today, the players and owners of Major League Baseball failed to meet a deadline to save their 162-game schedule. The MLB announced today that they will be canceling another 2 series worth of games. Opening day now postponed at least until April 14th. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. Coming up, a KREM 2 exclusive today about the new speed cameras on Spokane South Hill. What you need to know before they are installed. We are back in just 90 seconds.